Welcome back to part 2 on how to set up the Word document when preparing financial statements on Microsoft Word.
Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you was how you go about creating a table of contents for your financial statements. During this process, I will show you a couple of word tricks where you can word tricks to do with your table of contents, which is very helpful when you prepare your financial statements, and also can be very useful generally when using Word. Alright, so let's get started. So I wanted to put a table of content. What I've also gone and done is I've just spaced out the main headings which I wanted to include into the table of contents. So how you create a table of contents, or how I go about creating a table of contents, is that I use the header formats. The header formats also link back to the table of contents. I normally use up to 3 header formats. I don't go down to 4. Generally 3 is more than sufficient for financial statements. 4 might be too much detail. Then again, it can depend on the size of your financial statements, the number of pages you have. I wouldn't put too much of detail in the table of contents, as it can look a little bit unnecessary if you only have a statement of say 20 pages and you're having up to level 4 in your table of contents. It doesn't really look all that beneficial, because you'll have a lot of information on one particular page. Alright, so let's just I'm going to use the header 1 for the main categories. So I'm quickly just setting that up by just clicking header 1. You can also change the formatting of the header if you need to by coming to modify and stuff, or just changing it here and then updating the header to look like how you have actually laid it out here. So that's something you can do. Again, a lot of this is training on a lot of this is covered on a lot of online training which I've seen. There's a lot of good training online when it comes to how to use Word, especially the latest versions, which is quite useful. There's a lot of presenters out there. So I'm not trying to teach you Word exactly. I'm just trying to teach you the features in Word that helps you prepare our financial statements. Alright, so I've gone ahead and done that. Now, what I'm also going to do is going to try and include a page number here. So I've gone in, I double clicked it, and I'm going to go to references. Sorry, I need to insert table of contents. Or was that in references? References. Sorry, references to table of contents. I just want to get a header. Footer was what I was looking for. So I need to go to footer, and I'm just going to put a basic footer here. So that's coming up as page 2. Page 1 is here. I really don't want the cover page to have a page number, and I really don't want the index to have a page number. I want the page numbers to continue after that. I'll show you how you fix that. Alright, so now when you're using if you think you might need a different header and footer in following pages, you always use a section break. So I'm going to go ahead and include a section break rather than a section page break, rather than a page, just a general page break. The general page break will make sure that the header and footer are consistently followed right through, which is what you would use when you're using a break within a particular section. Alright, so I will cover that as well when we are starting to add stuff. Alright, so I'm going to just go here and say next page. Alright. So as you can see, I'm just going to scroll up and say it inserted the section break, and that was my last action. My last action on Word was to insert a section break. So now what you can go and do, just to save time, is place the cursor where you want the next section break to happen and just press F4. As you can see, it inserted the page break, the page break for the next section. Okay, so that is the shortcut key to repeat the last action that was performed in Word, which saves a lot of time. As you can see, just place it here, press F4, and it follows the last action. Alright, so I've done that, and as you can see, the page numbers have the increase, let me just check that. Yeah, so it's increasing the page number. The color, I'm not too sure about the color being blue, but I've selected that table. I'm just going to leave that. Alright, now I'm just going to scroll up right to the top where I wanted the index. I didn't want this page number. So right now, once you created the sections, that's where the index is. That's the director's report. I should have put another page break here, F4 again. Alright, okay, so I didn't want the footer to the numbering to be on my index, so I'm going to make this page 1. So what you do here is you get into your footer area here. I might actually change the I can't actually see the numbers, so I'm going to go to home and try and change the color to black. That's better, I can see it now. I wanted, so what you do is you disconnect it from the previous section. So now this is the same as previous, means it's following what's in the previous section, but I don't want the number to be on the index table, so therefore I'm going to take it out. But what you need to do is, before you go and delete the number from the top, you need to make sure that this isn't connected. If it is connected and you delete it, then it tends to delete it right through because it is connected. So I'm going to go into the footer here now, header footer. So I'm going into the design. See, every time you come into a particular section, it'll open that tab for you. If I get out of it, it hides the tab. So just bear that in mind, that some of these tabs are only available once you're in that section. So I'm just going to go down again here. I wanted to break it from the top, so I'm going to say it's not linked. So I'm going to say link to previous. I'm going to click it to make sure it's not linked. So as you can see, it's not linked. Now what I wanted to do was to make this start from page 1. If you'd like it to start from page 3, because there are 3 pages technically, including cover page, you can do that as well. But I'm just going to show you how you can change it. So you go to you can just highlight it and just say format page number, and what I'm going to do is, for this page I'm going to say start it from 1, and then to start from 1. Okay, so then I can also go here to previous pages and just delete it because I didn't want a page number there, and neither did I want it here. Alright, so that's taken care of. So I don't have a page number on my cover page, I don't have a page number on my table of contents, and I have first page number on my director's reports, and then it should continue sequentially after that. Alright, so now that I've done that, let's go ahead and include a table of contents. Now I will show you some tricks in Word while I go along with this, especially when it comes to the table of contents and some other features as we go along. So just to see, some features might be new to you, some may not be, so it'll depend on the level of each of the users. So I'm going to come here and say table of contents. I'm going to use maybe the second table. I think that's a decent format, so I'm just use that. As you can see, the page numbers are there. Alright, so, and as you include spaces in between, it should, as more information is added and it sort of expands over other pages, it should update this. Okay, so there we go. So at the moment I've set it for 3 levels. Now even the table of contents in Word is a field. I'll show you that. You press Alt F9. So that's done. So I press Alt F9 again and it takes me back to the data. Okay, so Word actually uses a lot of data, a lot of fields. Most individuals don't even know it's a field. They think it's just happening and there is a program that's running behind. Well, there is a program. It's all linked to the fields, and that is the same process followed by the EasyFS financial systems when linking the data into Word, and that's why Word accommodates it really well, because it is using a Word's functionality to automate Word, and therefore you're not going to get any unnecessary Word crashes and stuff. Incidentally, while you keep working with your Word document, always remember to save it. You don't want to lose it if you have, for example, a power failure or something, or your machine switches off. As always, I highly recommend uninterrupted power supply using a UPS system when preparing your financials. If you're preparing it on a laptop, I think you're a little bit more safer because the laptop has a battery backup should you have power failure or something like that, because a sudden shutdown of a machine can result in data loss. But if you have saved it regularly, then you have a better chance of recovering it. Alright, so that's your table of contents. Now I'll show you one of the word tricks here when it comes to preparing financial statement that can be very helpful. Alright, so as you know, we used the formatting heading 1 format here, right? So there might be instances where you want the heading to be in the header rather than in the body of the text. Unfortunately, when the heading is in the header section, which is here, it is not taken up in the table of contents. Now that is how Word operates. It must be on the body of the document for it to be able to be picked up in the table of or the table of contents rather, okay, in your index. So how do you do that, and how do you still retain it? Because it must be maintained with this format. Now, this is I think this is a very important technique if you want to actually include these items in your header. So for example, I'm going to go here, I'm going to highlight this, I'm going to just copy that. I don't think I'll need that. I'm just going to copy that. So what I normally do is you can paste it here, so and I'll give it the same header format, knowing that this is not going to get picked up. Now say I have 2 of these here with 2 header formats, but if I were to update this, I come here and I say update, I'll update the entire document, entire table. As you can see, it's not recognizing the second director's report which I have mentioned here, which is in the header, so it ignores that totally. Alright, so but when you do your director's report and you put it up here, you don't want this to be visible as well, because it's like a repeat on the first page. Okay, as you can see that this is actually following through to all of them. I should have actually disconnected it, which I'll do now. So I'm going to come back here. I'm just going to delete that. So I'm going to go down here and just disconnect it from the financial statements here. So I'm going to go and say not linked. Probably disconnect it from here as well. Position not linked. I'm going to disconnect the equity. In the main statement, it's best to disconnect it because you want a different heading for each of these statements. Note numbers, again I'll disconnect it from the previous, and that'll be the note numbers at that at the top there. So how do you go about including it in the header but still being able to have it in your index? Alright, so now this is a bit of a trick, or trick in Word, I guess. So the first thing what you need to do is see if you can just copy this, rename. You need to create a new format. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to come down here. Okay, so that's coming at a normal font, which is fine. So I need to create a new style, a style that will help me to hide the director's report, because I'm going to put it out at the top here, right? So I'm just going to duplicate that for the time being. So just duplicating it here. Alright, so I'm going to go with create a new style here. Okay, and I can have that as being to automatically update. Some tutors would advise against that because it will update all over the document. I generally like to keep it on because it just keeps the style consistent. Okay, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to call it hide header 1, h1, hide header 1. So it's coming as a header 1, which is what I want. It's a paragraph format, which is again what I want to maintain. Alright, and it says hide. What I want also is for that to be the font doesn't matter, I'll just make it very small, and I want to have further formatting capabilities, so I'm going to come here to the fonts, and what I do is I change the color to white, so therefore it will not print. So it will not print, but it still exists, and it still gets picked up in your table of contents. So that's a little bit of trick, I guess. So I got that and say okay. So as you can see, it is here. Alright, now I don't do it like that. Now what I do is I'll just show you another little bit more advanced feature which I normally tend to do. So I'm going to copy this here. I'm going to put this into the header here. Alright, now what I normally tend to do is, you want it to update automatically as well. So I normally put a few spaces here at the end. The spaces are so that, you know, if I were to come and change any data here, just placing it here and just changing it, I want it to update here and then automatically then update back up to your table of contents. So what you do is you just highlight the thing. Make sure you don't highlight the paragraph marker, because you don't want to be repeating the paragraph marker every time you copy or every time you include that item at the bottom, because that just increases the number of items in your outlay, or in your layout rather. Okay, so as you can see, it's showing directors report twice. That's because it is here twice here in the body. One is hidden. Okay, so what I do is I just come and I highlight the header. Then you go down to, let me see, where do I need to go here? I need to go to insert and go to bookmarks. Okay, and now I've highlighted that area. I'm going to give it a bookmark. So I'm just going to call that directors report. I don't keep any spaces. I don't think it allows you to put, it does allow you to keep a space, but it doesn't allow certain characters when you come to bookmark. I just keep it together, make it simple. So that's a name, and I'm saying, and I add that. So when I add it, it's added a bookmark, right? What I tend to do is I come back here and I delete that one out here, and again, I don't want to capture the paragraph marker. It's sometimes a little bit tricky with Word when you're trying to avoid capturing the paragraph marker. It always tends to go and select the paragraph marker. It doesn't matter in this case. I'll just select that, and then what I want to do is I want to come to cross-referencing. So what cross-referencing does is I come to cross-referencing, and then I want to select bookmarks. Oh, not footer, sorry, I want to pick up bookmarks, and you can see the bookmark that I just created, directors report, that is there, right? So I'm going to say yes, we're inserting a hyperlink, so I say insert there, right? So now I've created the bookmark. Okay, and that's the full bookmark there. Now I come here and I change the font back to being the header one there, right? I'm going to just delete this one here because I don't want to have it in twice. So as you can see, nice one. So now I just come here and I hide this one by using my hide format there. And as you can see, it actually, even though I hidden it, you can see it. That is because it is grayed out as it's a word field now. Okay, so if I were to select that and press Alt F9, you can see it's a field, it's a reference. So that's one of Word's functions as well, where it actually uses a word field. So now the good thing is, while it's hidden, it means it will not print. You can still see it on your document and know that it's linking to there. So if I were to come and say, if I were to edit this and press F and then highlight this and press F9, it'll update it. I'm not going to show that in this particular video because it will stop my recording. That happens to F9 happens to be the shortcut key to pause the recording as well. So a little bit stuck with that at this time being. Maybe what I'll do is I'll just pause the video, but now I won't be able to change it at this time. Okay, so yes, I can't press F9, so I'm not going to show you the update. of that. Maybe I can just maybe I might be able to just, without using a shortcut key, just change the director's report. Maybe I'll just put 1 2 3. Alright, so it's still within the Word format, so I can see that it's still within the highlighted area of my bookmark. Okay, so if I come out and I highlight it and I say here update fields, as you can see it's updating, and it'll update before you print. Alright, so before you generate a report, it'll always update, so which is very useful. I should have actually just updated this as well to show you that it takes it up here. 1 2 3. Again, now I'm going to come and update it here. Goes back to director's report, and when the table of contents updates again. I didn't update the entire table. It takes it out from there. So that's another way of making it dynamic, making it work. Alright, and having the ability to move between your paragraphs. Incidentally, you get this from the navigation. You go to view and you click on navigation pane, and you can see your navigation pane is very handy. What you can also do is you can hide stuff, like for example, if you come here, you can see this little arrow here. If you just click it there, it folds the section up. Okay, so if there's any information in there, for example, let me just put some information in here. I'll unhide it. And if I put information in here and I click it again, you can collapse your section, so which is pretty useful. Generally, I think this is pretty quick as well. Just move so that way you don't have to muck around with hiding. But suppose if it was a long document and you needed to hide everything, you can just come here, you can right click it and say expand collapse, and you can say collapse all headings. Now that's useful because then you collapse all, you can scroll it and see how it is. Likewise, you can come and say expand collapse and expand all. Okay, alright, so that's there. So I've done that. Now I'm also going to show you similarly how you would do a footer. Let me just see here. So the director's report done the index. Yep. For the main statement, now here I need that footer to be here, so I'm just going to copy it from here. Copy, and I'm going to place the footer here. Actually I can just let that footer copy itself all the way down to the notes and then disconnect it from the notes. Yeah, I'll probably do that, that might be quicker. So I need it to be up to here, and the notes need to be different from here. So I'm going to click on the area where the notes commence, and I'm not going to link it there, but from here onwards, I guess I can include it in. So if I enter that, keep it exact, keep it extra one there, create that there. Just come here and just say, so enter, that may be easier. Just go to home and just enter it. Yeah, that's easier. Alright, so okay, so we got that going there. Or I actually put it under the index, which I didn't want to. I did put it under the index, so on the director's report, index, and it's not gone onto the index, which is good. Exactly what I wanted. And that's because I disconnected it when I did the numbering. Okay, that was perfect. Alright, so we got that. Now we got the structure. Now it's a matter of just pasting in the information.
We continue the training on the final part of this series.